This is Tony Hendrick with Painting Spirit, and today's subject is going to be nibbling. And so, how did I come about this? Well, so a few days ago I was going through the photos, kind of looking for something to paint, and I came across this photo of a chipmunk nibbling on something, on a branch, and it's like, oh, that'd be a cool painting. And then I thought to myself, well, I don't know, Tony, you've never really done a painting of an animal in a 15-minute session before. I don't know how that's going to turn out. Maybe you should think about that. And so I went and grabbed a different photo to use, and yesterday I had so much fun just playing around with that river painting and talking about it, and I thought, why don't you just do that? Why don't you just have fun with this chipmunk painting and see what happens? And so the images of the chipmunk nibbling, and it just got me thinking about the idea of nibbling away at something, chipping away at something like a Buddhist chipmunk. Anyway, so how does that fit in with creating artwork? Well, for me, I kind of like this image of the chipmunk, because in talking about nibbling away at something, and thinking about inspiration. When I get an inspiration for something that I think would be great to do, so part of me that also hesitates. Well, is this the right thing for me to invest all my energy in right now? And so I go into kind of this indecisive thing. Maybe it never gets done, and that's because I put so much pressure on myself, I think. And so thinking about this chipmunk nibbling, the other thing that the chipmunk does is it will fill up its cheeks with nuts for the acorns or whatever it's gathering for the winter. And I always imagine what it's like to have all those nuts in your mouth and actually not eating them, but just holding on to them to store away. And it's a little bit like what I think probably is the key to inspiration, that many times I give myself too much pressure to, if I got an inspiration, I got to act on it. Maybe the thing to do is just look at those inspirations, enjoy them, feel them in my mouth, maybe enjoy storing them away for a later date, like the chipmunk, and not giving any singular importance to any one of them. Greater importance to any one of them, I guess, is what I was getting at. I don't think the chipmunk really is looking at, oh, this is the nut that this is the one that I think is the best one. Just stores them away, fills its cheeks with all those acorns for a later date. It's just enjoying the process. I think that can be applied to creating something too. Sometimes it's fun just to nibble away at something, bit by bit. I'm not a naturalist, but I imagine the chipmunk probably plays a role in sculpting the forest. With some of those inspirations that never got eaten end up growing into a big oak tree at some point. Anyway, I'm just going to nibble away at this little painting and see if I can actually do something in this 15-minute session that possibly resembles a chipmunk nibbling away at something. Let's get an eyeball in there. Really, when I'm working on something detailed like this, it's kind of the way I go about it. I just nibble away at it. You're just playing around with things. Seeing, this is where that scumbling that I've been talking about. I should be using some thicker, because this is trying to do this in a little bit of a quick manner. I've talked about that scumbling technique. Just getting some paint on there with the medium and maybe not giving too much care about the details, just getting some color in there. Just kind of nibbling away at it. There's a little ear, little nose. Something's coming together there. Well, I got some of those colors in there. Kind of play around with some highlighting. Getting some of that paint off of my brush each time I pick it up. It's very wet. Might even bring in the little spatula. Get something happening with the whole painting there. Makes it a little more interesting. Maybe even some branches in the background. So right now I got all that paint on there and it's really wet, and so I just move it around. Can start to get some some volume happening. Yeah, that chipmunk kind of just came together with that little bit that I did there. Eyes are really important when doing anything like an animal or human. Taking a lot of information about a person, looking at their eyes. That's why doing a portrait painting or something is going to take way, way, way longer than, many other kinds of paintings, because we are constantly looking at each other to see what the other person's thinking, and there's a lot of information that comes from the face. Does this person check out? I want to be sure about that. Is this person telling the truth? Let's see here. I'm going to bring in some contrasting colors, get something happening. This photo really isn't the greatest photo either. There's not a whole lot of detail in it. It was kind of a blurry shot that I took. Something is sort of coming together with that. See? Let's see here. So wet. The paint is wet. Sometimes shaping in stuff around the subject can be interesting. Just playing with the brush strokes there. Let's see here. Maybe some pinkish colors for these branches in the background. That did add a little something. There it goes. Now that I got that pink in, I can bring in some whites on top of it, and because I use that contrasting color, the white, it doesn't get lost in that blue background, and I can really work it. Well, I think you can sort of see a chipmunk there. That's how I would start out a painting. Let's get something going with the tail. The tail seems to be kind of a cool little part of this chipmunk to me. Did help a little. Well, how'd I do? Did I capture a little hint of a chipmunk there nibbling away on something? Can't really see it nibbling, can you? Anyway, this weekend, get out your brushes and see what you can nibble away at. Don't try and eat the whole nut at once. Enjoy it. That's the whole point of this topic today. Is when you're nibbling on something, you're really being present to it. And that is what we're ultimately looking for, isn't it? Just that enjoyment, the pleasure of it. So have fun this weekend. Got your brushes. And we'll see you on Monday.